hopefully no one finds it on the stream. It's like now everyone's gonna look for it. Everyone, like, no one watches this. Thank God, dude. If someone watching it and that happened, now I'll know every time I open a link, man, on the other screen, like straight up. That's so bad. Anyways, Blizzard's big news, Bellular Warcraft. Let's rewatch it again and not fuck up this time.
Back to the news. So, it's been a pretty damn busy week for Blizzard overall. I'm going to get stuck in with Warcraft stuff.
Yay, let's go.
Watching out for alpha. So, we talked about some back-end alpha stuff last week.
Okay, they changed, basically there was a change in one of the internal files, internal like name, and they changed to a Dragonflight Alpha instead of Shadowlands Alpha, whatever.
Blizzard now pushing a new alpha
There's nothing really...
which just last week was name changed from Shadowlands internal alpha.
It's a lot of speculations that no one knows what it means.
Pretty good. Stuff's happening.
Just something to post so to get views.
Could be some company-wide internal alpha testing.
So I don't know who Martin Benjamins is.
But I think this is vaguely exciting because it shows some forward motion. It shows that alpha is probably not that far away.
It shows forward motion. I mean, you should expect that it's moving forward, I would say. It's like, it's not surprising.
Speaking of excited, just by the way,
it's like, oh, we announced Dragonflight. Pause all proceedings. We are not working on this game right now. Let them think we are.
If you would like to support our team, all things we are doing, then over on Patreon we do have some real fresh, delicious loot from the art team, the very same art team that is, of course, working on our game. So you can check that out if you want to support what we're doing. With that said, though, let's go and talk a little bit about Wrath of the Lich King. Blizzard have announced Wrath Classic Fresh Start server.
So bad. Oh my god, Fresh Start servers, bro. Let me tell you. So, people think this is a good idea. I've seen the Asmongold video about it where it's like, in hindsight it is a good idea, but like overall it's not. His reasoning was because like, oh well, I don't want to re-level up and all that stuff. And honestly, leveling during Wrath of the Lich King is substantially easier than leveling throughout Classic or TBC. However, they are removing the Dungeon Finder, so it might actually be harder. Because literally you just roll your Prot Paladin, get to 15, and start spamming dungeons all the way to Northrend. It's usually how you would do it in Wrath. Obviously now you can't, so that's gonna be a bit annoying. You might just need to find 4 other players and just spam with them, maybe. I don't know. Sounds very, very tedious. Either way, that is not the problem with Fresh Start realms. So people think this is a good thing because of bots and stuff like that. It's gonna reset the economy. All it's gonna do really, because you're gonna have a lot of bots on the Fresh Start servers, and the Fresh Start servers, it's like there's a barricade. You cannot bring characters from other realms for at least 90 days. This is probably the best thing to happen to bots since the beginning of Classic, because now, instead of gold costing $7 for 1,000 gold, or even less now, it's gonna be 1,000 gold for $50 again. All you're gonna do is, and it's like you're gonna see, it's like you go on a gold buying website, and I've never been to one ever, but basically what would happen is, you go to these gold buying websites, right? And usually you pick a server, and like you pick your realm, you pick your, your zone, realm, whatever, and then it tells you the price, and almost all the realms are pretty much the same price. But then you're gonna have the Fresh Start servers, and then it's like, oh, 1,000 gold, $6, 1,000 gold, $5, 1,000 gold, $7, 1,000 gold, $60. What the fuck? Oh, it's a Fresh Start server. So now it's just gonna cost players more to buy gold. And you think players are not gonna buy gold? They're gonna buy gold. They're gonna buy gold. Straight up, they will buy gold. Like, it is what it is. People are gonna spend the money. And yeah, it's like you think you're resetting the economy, all you're doing is really, you're just making bots richer. And the thing is, because bots are gonna be richer, you're gonna have way more bots on the Fresh Start servers than you're gonna have on the regular servers, straight up.
They're going to go live with the Wrath Classic pre-patch. This is just such good news.
No, it's
All players will
the
start
worst
from
thing.
level 1, and for it...
I mean, it's good news because you will have the option, but let's be real, it's gonna fuck you over for doing it. And trust me, you're gonna play for a few days and you're like, you know what? I'ma just go on my level 70 and get it to 80. Like, fuck this leveling 1 to 70 again. I'll just go my level 70, who, by the way, if you were doing TBC properly, you would have the gear from Sunwell, which is gonna be your best in slot gear until at least like 77, maybe even till 80. So it's like, why give that up?
At least the first 90 days, no one will be able to level boost or transfer from a non-fresh start.
You know what they should do? Legit. It's like, you know how in Diablo 3 you have the fresh start for characters? Like you reset the character and throw them into like the thing. They should have that for Wrath of Lich King, where you take the character you have and you reset it to level 1. It gets to keep everything except its gold. So all the gear and all that stuff you get to keep. The thing is, all the materials from TBC are going to be pretty much like, they're not really worth anything. I actually know, because of how professions work, they actually might. Yeah, never mind, that doesn't even work. Because I was like thinking, like, how do you get to keep your gear? It's like, it sucks to like throw away some, like, if you got, you know, if you got Corrupt Ashbringer, if you got Illidan's Glaive, stuff like that, that would suck making a new character and not having those again.
They're also not like held to that 90 days. It's 90 days at minimum.
Yeah.
They basically later said that if they don't feel the need to open up those restrictions, they won't. And that's really good, because that means that if those servers are just nice and healthy anyway, then they can stay like that. And I think that is more healthy for them.
Watch how many people make Frost Mages, get them to 55 to make the DKs. Like.
As for the why here, Blizzard basically said that they've heard people's requests for this, and they also anticipate a lot of new players wanting to do Wrath Classic fresh, and, well, they wouldn't want people to feel behind. And that is a real concern.
Here's the thing, it's like, a lot of people are the people who complain on the forums. You know who complains on the forums? The people who are disgruntled. You know who doesn't? The people who are satisfied or like okay or like happy. They usually don't write anything on the forums. How many thank yous do you get on the forums versus how many hate mails do you get on the forums? So it's like, you're gonna have like 200 posts by 200 different people about how much they want fresh servers. Guess what you're not getting? You're not getting 149,800 people telling you how much they don't care about fresh classic servers.
Sorry, even if it's not all that important given the player power resets that the new expansion brings, it is kind of important. I mean,
is it?
Gold inflation, there's that.
That's a bad idea.
Servers, gold will be starting off from scratch.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
People won't be entering Wrath with masses of wealth.
Great, good luck getting your 5,000 gold mount by by speed leveling without buying gold from bots. Good luck.
In these servers. And that's important in a world where rampant botting and RMT have ravaged TBC Classic's economy. The slate is clean. Again,
the economy sucks for people who are trying to sell mats as their go-to. I am telling you right now, the best way to make gold is to disenchant shit. Straight up. Bots are clearing trash for pure gold. Bots are not going into dungeons, killing bosses, getting epic and blue gear. They're not disenchanting. Are they getting some blue gear and purple gear? Yeah, maybe. But which bots do you have? You have the bots that just kill shit with no they don't have professions, just kill shit for pure gold gains. You have the bots that are like just farming, like herb and mining, maybe skinning. How many bots are enchanters and clothiers? Probably not a lot, if at all. Get an enchanter, run dungeons, disenchant, make mats, make enchants, sell that shit. Crusade enchant is gonna be worth so much gold leveling up. It's probably the best enchant in the game to level up with, especially, and I believe Wrath of the Lich King introduces heirlooms. You get heirlooms and you get Crusader enchant. You are gonna level up so much easier. It's one of the best gold makers. Stop selling mats. Inflated economy with bots. Your mats ain't worth shit because there's too much of them. Get into enchanting and clothing. By far the best. Clothing for the pants enchant and the, I think, shoulder enchant. Enchanting for everything else. Even the mount. You can sell the mount for a lot of money.
Where if Blizzard can really tackle hard the problem.
And the thing is, people will buy. Why? They have the gold. So you can make easy make gold because of the inflated gold amount.
Something brilliant for Wrath Classic by outlining some future plans. So PvE to PvP server restrictions are going to be removed. Then the Classic Era clone service is going to shut down. Existing realms are going to be consolidated, which we talked about last week. Then fresh start realms and pre-patch will happen. And then of course Wrath Classic itself will come out. By the way, just a little more on the server consolidation from last week. So I've seen.
When do the first servers come out? Before
realms and pre-patch will happen, lining some future plans. So PvE to PvP server restrictions are going to be removed. Then the Classic Era clone service is going to shut down. Existing realms are going to be consolidated, which we talked about last week. Then fresh start realms and pre-patch will happen. And then of course Wrath Classic.
How long is the pre-patch? Is it a month or 2 weeks? If it's a month, bro, bots are gonna take over in a month easily. 2 weeks, not so much, but like a month.
Will come out. By the way, just a little more on the server consolidation from last week. So I've since taken a look at Ironforge Pro. Now that
bro, this is exactly why there are bots. So like I was watching this video earlier, and he said how like there's this problem with bots, and how come private servers can ban bots and Blizzard can't. It's because they don't care. No, it's because you have 300,000 players. What was the max population? Max population Nostalrius before it crumbled with Elysium and all that stuff. Population on Nostalgia servers. You can see live count. I don't know. Let's do it like this. I have a bad experience with opening links. PvP server typically it's probably not gonna show, right? Yeah. Since okay, so let's see. PvP server typically has 5,000 to 8,000 players, and about 40% of vanilla raid content is released. Wow. PvE server never goes above 3,000 or so. So basically you have about 10,000 players at most on 2 different servers. Okay. Why on earth would bots even bother with this? You would have one or like you would have so few bots to because who is gonna buy? There is no player base to buy shit. Like, this is absurd. Of course there's no bots in those games, in those servers, because there's like, it's easy to ban 3 bots. Meanwhile, it's just like 10,000 players, let's say, right? Meanwhile, you have 300,000 players times 30. Guess what? If you have only 10 bots on Nostalrius, you have 300 bots on like retail. Which, by the way, probably you have way more. Okay, it's not a 1-to-1. It's like not a 1-to-10 ratio. If you have on 10,000 people, you might have only like 10 bots. If you have 300,000 people, you might have almost 100,000 bots out of them, because you have a bigger demand for, like, way bigger demand to buy the gold. Of course, Nostalrius banned the fucking botters. There was like 2 of them.
Collates Warcraft log data, right? Parse data, to give you an estimate of raiding populations. And all you have to do is scroll down it. Most servers are extremely dead, right? I mean, even Shazrath, the server that I Made a
Look at that
character from a
shit.
very long time ago. Just dead. Now there's obviously still
Ah, why does everyone play Horde? I wonder.
servers, but barely anyone is actually raiding, which kind of shows that the end game population
Yeah, look at that.
isn't there.
50-50.
Now this is where consolidation makes a lot of sense, because in Classic people will generally be wanting to move to the good servers, and that means that the community will just gravitate in a certain direction.
Always.
A bunch of servers dead. So
Always.
consolidation makes extreme sense. You chop down the server count, you then make room for the fresh start servers,
Yep.
which are going to ideally fill up with a bunch of new people. So
Ideally.
pretty damn good. I think
In an ideal world.
set up for success. And a lot of people are going to want to try this that didn't do Classic or
God, I wish we could get this sword as a legendary. Ah, that'd be so good.
PvC. Let's be real, Wrath is a little bit faster paced, it's a little bit closer to the modern game. It still, though, does feel like the end of that sort of vanilla TBC Wrath era, right?
Yep.
Things did start to change quite
I
a
hope
lot
they don't
now.
make Kata.
So, of all the classics, I just think it's going to do tremendously well, and I'm personally
For a month. And every rate tier. Yeah. On that. Nope.
very hyped for it. Okay, next then, a little bit on tanking. This is an
Okay.
interesting
Warcraft.
one.
Tanking
So
and
Blizzard
kiting.
actually
Let's
changed
see.
tanking in WoW. Basically, most, if not all, anti-kite mechanics have been removed from Mythic Plus dungeons. So
Oh.
these anti-kite abilities would essentially
Oh no, with the following hotfixes, our goal is to address circumstances in the Shadowlands dungeons where enemy spells could be cast on nearby melee targets when their current target moved out of range, sometimes leading to unfair player deaths. Fix an issue that would cause Territorial, Bladebeak, and Bladebeak Matrix. Yes, I remember that. Halls of Atonement, Depraved Darkblade's Deadly Thrust to be cast. Yep, so I remember that. So many fucking times that happened to me. I love being melee. Niche that would cause Mistveil Matriarch Shred Armor to be cast on nearby targets. Tazavesh, I don't even care. Theater of Pain, Ancient Captain's Shield Bash, yep, that happened too. Kara, Arizon. Players in cross-faction groups could play the chess events against each other. Oh, that was great.
tank busters.
That's hilarious.
Then they would always hit a nearby
While doing an
player.
introduction
Very
quest
often,
into the
not
dunes
being
is
able to
working as
survive it
expected.
because
Dude, honestly, Karazhan, there should be a brawl for that Karazhan chess event. That would actually be kind of funny to watch.
tank. Now this is a
But you can
mechanic
also only go into it with a pre-made group.
pretty much existed to counteract a kite-based meta that formed during the Legion expansion. I believe, was it Ataldazar? Like it's the community name for this is just like named after a mob in Ataldazar because that's when Blizzard started to do this. But it seems now that Blizz are realizing the downsides here, because if you're a regular player who is killed by one of these, then you feel like you just had a death that's pretty unfair. You've been kind of punished for the other person.
Yeah, it's a one-shot.
And it's not really that readable. So it seems like this is a pretty damn big win for the Mythic Plus community. I mean, a sudden, surprising death that you, the individual, cannot clearly outplay and that is not clearly telegraphed. Like, that's gotta be a frustrating experience. I think it's an example of an overly...
Good job,
defensive
fucking
design,
stunning them there and AoEing
where it's
them down.
less about things being
Pretty
brilliant
good.
for everyone
It was
and
so
more about
close.
solving a problem. It's
Holy
clearly
fuck, it
them
does damage,
retiring
eh?
that. And maybe there's a philosophical change here, because Blizzard are very often accused of being a bit too defensive, you know, less focused on the fun and player experience, a little bit too much focused on solving problems. And even if they solve real problems, well, at what cost? Here, obviously, the cost was perhaps melee players not being as wanted.
Yeah. Who wants to play like, forget them not being wanted. Who even wants to be a melee player in the current meta in any content of the game? Oh, well, Warrior does the most DPS. Yeah, I would still rather have more hunters in the to do mechanics. DPS is almost never the issue. Just get more ranged. And again, if there's melee mechanics, get some of the hunters to stand in melee range. Problem solved.
Or melee players just having a bad gameplay experience because they just got killed and they didn't really know why, and it turns out the tank did something wrong, and that just creates friction in the group, and yeah.
That's it. Can you avoid having any melee in... Yeah, just get a monk and get a demon hunter for as tanks, And let's see, who else do you have? You have Warrior, you have Paladin, and you have Paladin, healers. There you go, problem solved. That's all your auras and shit. Rogue, you don't need a rogue, do you? No, you don't. Any other melee characters I'm forgetting? Death Knight. You might need one Death Knight for certain head fights, but honestly, not really. Let's be real. Yeah, replace all melee with hunters, and you're good to go.
So you know what? This is pretty damn welcome. Good one. Next, Blizzard working on a Shadow Priest change. An interesting one that most of us wouldn't have even thought of. So they're changing their default speech to common instead of Shathyar when they're in...
Deaf players often rely on /say to communicate in emergency situations in raids. In fact, for Undaunted's raid team, it is mandatory for all of our raiders to have speech bubbles enabled. The problem is this: we have 3 Shadow Priests and they occasionally have to type something in /say only to have it to be void gibberish that no one can read. This is a great call out. After discussing with the team, we'd like to look into changing this in the future patch. Our current thought is that priests in void form would no longer speak in Shathyar by default, but we'd also add a glyph so that players who like the flavor can still opt into it. Thanks for taking time. Okay, that's pretty cool.
As for why, well,
a rework.
This actually ended up being a really big problem for deaf raiders, who obviously cannot rely on voice chat to communicate. So when people are typing comms to each other, or maybe using some macros for callouts, but then it comes out in Shathyar, and of course...
Text to speech, not voice to chat.
Shathyar, I don't think any of us can. That ends up in a...
Oh, I guess, yeah, voice to chat, so you talk and types.
The experience. Quite the problem. Not one that you really think of. So, what they're going to do is make the Shathyar thing opt-in via glyph. Now, to be honest, I think you could probably keep the flavor by just having Shathyar as default, and then maybe just giving the glyph to people who want to opt in to speak in common.
No, I'd say their decision is better. The Shathyar by default is, like, some people would not know, some people would forget about it. I think it would cause more problems. Because Shathyar is just a flavor, really. It's not really important. So having it as a glyph, it makes more sense than having normal speak as a glyph.
Look, the main point is, either way, this is a good little lesson for all of us, and I think a really nice move for the deaf raiders. So great stuff for them.
That's totally fine.
Okay, right. There's been such a torrent of Blizzard news. Let's go. We finally got an update for Warcraft 3 Reforged after waiting over a year since the last one.
Yep.
This revolutionary update basically just adds stuff that the community have been asking for. Stuff that really should have been
rank play, player profiles, leaderboards, and more.
At launch.
And more means it's not important.
Part of original Warcraft 3, such as ranked play, player profiles, and leaderboards. And the funny thing there is Blizzard's official version of things like ranked play aren't actually as good as Warcraft 3 Champions, which is the community solution that, by the way, is just so impressive. It's really cool. But it's good to see Blizzard actually now putting in the work. And from what I've heard, Blizzard have built their version of things in such a way that it won't hinder the community solution of Warcraft 3 Champions. So that's actually a really nice touch from Blizzard. They're not shutting down the community thing. And more importantly, I think it's Blizzard realizing how much they've messed up, because they said that rather than just telling us what their plans are, that they would rather show us, and that there's going to be updates throughout the year. Now, you only say that when you basically know that people's faith in you is pretty damn low, anything you say is going to be ruthlessly cross-examined, and where expectation setting can be risky. So apparently they've got multiple updates over this year, and they're just going to ship them, and that's when we'll know. That's good. That's good. You know, a little bit like No Man's Sky, where you just log into Twitter one day and you'd see, oh, a new expansion has dropped. It had no, not a word of it, and then just suddenly it's here. And that really worked well for that game. Now, the odd thing is who's making this, because the classic game...
Blizzard said today that it is absorbing Vicarious Visions. This is 2021. What it didn't say, Vicarious Visions has been working on the Diablo 2 remake. Team 1, Blizzard's classic team, was quietly dismantled last fall. New from me, including some insight on Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Games team at Blizzard sadly got shut down. Now, Bloomberg last year actually suggested that perhaps an outsourced team is now on that project. I guess apparently for like 10 months, but the odd thing is that if you put the pieces together...
Wait, Blizzard absorbs an Activision studio after dismantling classic games. That's so weird.
Update, they were actually being worked on a very long time ago, seemingly by the original team. So it looks like this is mostly them shipping work that's actually been done a while ago and is just being polished up for ship. Now, Matt and I go into a lot more detail on this over on the news channel. Essentially, I think they probably have this...
Nice call out to your other channel.
Updates, and they just wanted to know, like, when is our plan locked in?
Bro, he makes so much content, it's crazy that he, like, throws it on 3 different channels. 4 different channels, actually, I believe.
The time right, okay. Now,
yeah, he has Bellular News, Bellular Warcraft, Bellular Games or something, and then he has Bellular Clips.
We just need to show up and deliver. Look, I've always said that if Blizzard wants to mend their...
And I bet Clips gets the most views.
Goes,
It's more consumable.
And doing right by that community is essential. We can't really forgive the suits who put the whole thing in this position, but we can be happy that now that maybe
go Jaina, you can summon.
Happening, that the attention is...
Oh, lock me down.
So it's nice to see the work done. We just need to see how far they're going to go. I will flag up that War 3's 20th anniversary is quite soon, so perhaps they're planning something for that. Next then, during the Xbox Games Showcase event, Blizz announced that Diablo 4 will be releasing sometime in 2023 on both console gens, Switch, and of course PC, with cross-play.
I'm saying July.
Including great things like, say, couch co-op, which is, by the way, a really big win from the Diablo 3 console edition that, like, honestly plays so well.
I hope it's cross.
As our 5th class, now
it is cross platform, right?
Sorceress, which I think means we can expect a sword and board fantasy style class for the first expansion. As for features then, I'm just going to give you a TLDR. Remember, this is a game in a sort of a really big open world, so within all of this, there's almost 150 dungeons across the campaign and the end game. There are world bosses then for larger groups of...
I already guarantee Barbarian's going to be overpowered. Sorceress would be strong in some situations, weak in others. And what I think it's a Demon Hunter, I guess, or like a Bounty Hunter or something, like the range type, is gonna be overpowered in the world and sucks in dungeons.
Seems pretty fun. We've got Fields of Hatred, large PvPvE zones.
Necromancer's overpowered everywhere, so it doesn't matter.
Strongholds then. These are basically once friendly places scattered across the world full of demons, and as you progress through the open world, you clear the strongholds, you liberate them, and then you essentially unlock them as like a little friendly outpost. I think they just want the feel that as you progress through this world, it actually changes a bit. They then talked about the tree of...
So you'll have to be phased in that zone for other players that didn't do it yet, I guess.
Whispers, which basically just gives you contracts to further unlock world objectives and bounties. It overall seems like the sort of game where, maybe in an almost Guild Wars 2-like way, they just want you to see, like, events and things popping up across the map. That kind of means, like, even if you just plan to walk from A to B, you'll wander into a whole bunch of things to do on the way. And I think that's a pretty strong way to make a game like this. Now for the end game,
the Hydra is cool.
Nightmare dungeons that essentially have affixes that you
it's a
can
Hydra.
insert. I guess a bit of Halo skulls.
Wailing.
Plus, which, you know, and plus, I know some of you may roll your eyes at that. I would say that an ARPG like
how are these demons bigger than Diablo, Mephisto, and all that stuff, you know? like 3 times bigger, you know?
Diablo is where a system like that actually fits way better. Then Paragon boards. These are your beyond max level progression.
They look cool.
There's basically loads of optional paths to go down to build out your character.
Yeah, they look kind of cool.
Neat. Maybe a little bit more PoE flavor, I guess.
Yeah,
definitely. PoE, that's a complex game. But what about Legendary?
Well, the good thing I would say about Blizzard is they're really good taking complex systems from other games and simplifying them and dumbing it down to be more accessible.
Gems and other spooky Diablo Immortal things, you may say. Yes, we're all thinking that. And the Diablo team actually took to Twitter to basically respond to the growing monetization concerns. So both Adam Fletcher, the community lead, and Rod Ferguson,
anchored around optional cosmetic.
So pretty big role. Stated that this is a full-price game built strictly for PC and console audiences with plenty of post-launch content planned.
And then also Anchor built around optional cosmetic items. So two different tweets from two different people where they say anchored around or built around, meaning it's not only cosmetics.
Anchored around paid expansions and kind of like the optional.
I'm totally fine with max level boosts after a certain period of time.
Apply no further monetization methods in the game.
Apply.
Such as, say, pay for convenience, like buying a bunch of stash tabs like you may do in PoE, or pay to win, like Immortal. It wasn't strictly ruled out, which I think has left some fans deeply concerned. Now, I do think that the connotation of what they said is absolutely no paying for power. But honestly, like, even something like buying stash space or any of those convenience
on a
things, I mean,
game that you pay for?
In PoE, because it's free.
Yeah.
So, Immortal 4 cannot have that.
Yeah.
Now, the thing here is...
See, the thing is with PoE, it's like, let's say all you cared about is the stash. I think it's like $10, max 20. It's not a lot of money. Diablo 4 is going to be $60, right? And they're going to have the inconveniences of a free-to-play? Give me a fucking break.
If they directly said, hey everyone, don't worry, it's not pay to win in any way. If the GM and SVP of Diablo says that, then that's obviously a general admission that, yes, we know Immortal is pay to win. We made it that way. Now, we all know that's true, but it would also look kind of bad, so they're sort of bad.
Does it, though? Dude, I think... I mean, I guess I'm a big advocate for telling the truth, but it's like, I feel like him admitting it is like... It's not like people don't know. It's not like... It's like, I'm on the fence. I'm not sure if this is pay to win or not. It's like, no one is saying that it isn't pay to win anyways, except like the one guy, Stu, whatever his name is. No one is saying that it isn't pay to win. It's like, everyone knows. It's not like, hey, listen, yeah, Diablo Immortal is following the mobile meta. It doesn't have to word it as pay to win, but it's like, yeah, everyone knows what it is, and that's it. We're sorry, not even we're sorry. It's like, it is what it is. Diablo 4 is nothing like that, don't worry.
PR corner right there.
Something along those lines with a bit of PR taste, and you're fine. That does look interesting, though.
I'll level with you. I thought the Diablo 4 reveal was awesome. I think the combat looks super fun. I love how impactful it is. I love how the world looks. It truly looks like an evolution. I love the tone. It's dark as all hell. I love it. This... in any other world would be a massive win.
It's grey.
We'd all be saying,
give it that.
It's a pity about those D3 things, but look at this. 4 really looks great.
A barbarian or necromancer?
But Immortal has just left a bad taste in people's mouths.
Oh, 100%.
That's it.
It left a bit of, you know when you suck a dick? It left that aftertaste in your mouth. You know, you suck the dick in Diablo Immortal, you got it up the ass, and you still have a bit of like hemorrhage in your, you know, anal canal, and you have your a bit of like aftertaste from a bit of you know, the white goo that comes out. Yeah, that's what you have from Diablo Immortal.
Let this be a lesson to companies like
fucked in the ass, you sucked the dick, and now you have Diablo 4 to look forward.
But ultimately, they are counting on the monthly users and the revenue from Immortal to be worth more than the consumer goodwill.
No, they're not.
Because it's Diablo 4, they will say to themselves, of course people will come back. Whether they will or not remains to be seen. But of course, I think we all remember looking at that screenshot. All the people who would boycott Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because it did not have a custom server.
Wow! What is that, 15 people? Oh, actually, there's a few pages of 17.
And it was a Steam group for people who were joining the boycott. And on launch day, you could just see all of their profiles logged in, playing Modern Warfare 2.
100%.
Violating their boycott. So,
yeah.
I think Blizzard are probably leaning pretty damn hard.
In-game.
And as for the business model, look, paid expansions. Awesome. I want that. Cosmetics? I expect to be able to earn all the cosmetics in the game I'm paying full price for.
I am totally fine with being able to buy cosmetics. I am even more fine if you can buy cosmetics that you can earn in game. I am okay with not being able to get cosmetics because they really don't affect you. However, I want the shop cosmetics to
sorry, I want the game cosmetics to at least be able to compete with the shop cosmetics. I don't want like shitty cosmetics in the game and insane cosmetics in the shop. At the same time, I couldn't care less about cosmetics in an ARPG. It doesn't matter. Usually cosmetics, like if it's like wings and stuff, kind of gets in the way, especially with how zoomed in Diablo 4 looked like. Special effects for spells, if you can buy that as a cosmetic, totally fine with. Like have your frozen orb be green or some shit, fine with it. I don't give a shit. Mounts, if let's say you only get a horse but you can buy other types of mounts in the store, I don't care, as long as you're not faster. Couldn't care less. Max level boost after you got a character to max level, I don't care. Go ahead, open up the max level boosting. Like I don't know if I want to replay the game again. If I do, then I do. Like it is what it is. I personally never buy max level boosts. I wanna experience the character as it levels up and like see what the character has to offer. But some people, they don't, right? So it's like once you level to max level and you want to boost for a second character, fuck it, go. I don't care. Go and do it. Stash tabs should be default in the game. You shouldn't be able to get more stash tabs. You should be, if you max, you should be able to earn stash tabs, kind of like how Diablo 3 is doing it. You're earning them every season, so now you have a lot more stash tabs. Obviously no pay to win, no gear, aside from like the boost, which should get you some gear that you can play with at max level but not compete with. What else am I okay with? That's pretty much it though. Like, there's not much else that I can think of. Pets, no, stuff like that's fine with me. I don't care. What else is there as far as cosmetics go? Appearances for character that are locked, kind of like in Final Fantasy. Yeah, go for it. And like a lot of these things, like who cares?
Hello? Anything less than that undermines the non-numerical aspects of character progression.
And I'm also fine with DLCs, like paid DLCs of like other characters and zones and stuff like that. I am kind of okay with it. It's fine. Like as long as technically content should cost money. Like if what you paid for is the content that you were promised, that's fine. New champions, expansion, DLCs, they're extra work, they're extra content. Technically, I am okay. I don't want to pay more, but I am okay with them charging as long as it's a reasonable price. In my opinion, Necromancer in Diablo 3 for $15 is not worth it. $7 max.
Are major to many people. Now, there's one way they can get out of this. If Diablo 4 is a more live game that has PoE-style seasonal updates that contain lots of content and genuine high amounts of effort, then I will accept cosmetic microtransactions, but only if they are fairly priced and only if there are no loot box-like mechanics.
They're not going to be fairly priced, we all know.
Cosmetics in front of me in your full-price game, thus cheapening the experience, then I damn well be getting something in return for that. And then, of course, add to all this the live service gaming experienced in-game store product manager job role that they posted, and suffice to say...
Wait, was he showing...
For that. And then, of course, add to all this the...
Bro, I thought he was showing Diablo 4. That's actually PoE.
Gaming
wow.
Experienced in-game store product manager job
no wonder it felt
that
zoomed
they
in.
posted, and suffice to say, a lot of people aren't feeling great because, be it Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed or Blizzard with Diablo 4, one thing is becoming clear in this industry. It is that...
If that isn't convincing enough, it's also worth pointing out that virtually every major gamer studio has a commercial team, and product managers aren't generally the people deciding how the game will be monetized, so much as deciding how the existing monetization will be laid out in the shop and offered to consumers. They work with several departments to schedule content timelines, adjust pricing in various regions, coordinate post-sale analysis, and so on. Perhaps not the most glamorous job from the consumer standpoint, but certainly an important one to ensure that the business operates smoothly regardless. The decision as to whether it will be a pay-to-win game or a cosmetic-only game are made far above that level.
Box sales only, that is yesterday's game. That ain't a good thing for you and me. Next, Overwatch 2. Quite a lot of it, actually. So, Overwatch 2 PvP is free to play, and it comes out October 4th. The beta starts soon, loot boxes are dead, instead they are doing battle passes and a seasonal model, and right out the gate, they are doing 3 new heroes, 6 maps, 30 skins with a customizable mythic skin. The next season then drops 9 weeks after that, brings a new tank hero, a new map, 30 skins, new battle pass, and another mythic skin. And if you're wondering about the PvE, well, that's actually no longer a boxed product. That's actually included in the free-to-play service, and that will kick off 2023.
Okay, wait, so technically Overwatch is free if you owned Overwatch 1 then? Right.
I think they're doing their best here, and I think for the core Overwatch fans
fine.
who've been starved of content for ages, this is absolutely a good thing.
Yeah, it's basically a patch.
Delivering all of this content, they've actually tripled the size of the team. I'll say for me, I loved Overwatch on launch. I think the 5v5 format will be more to my personal taste at least. So I'm genuinely excited for this game, right? And I think it also helps that apparently the Overwatch team were a bit more insulated from the Blizzard problems. Just apparently the leadership, which isn't just Jeff, it's also other people, they had their heads screwed on apparently, which leaves less of a bitter taste in the mouth. That said, if you want a full breakdown of the whole Overwatch 2 situation and all the detail and all the new things, check out the video that me and Matt posted yesterday from our news channel. Okay, I want to end this by piecing things together. Wrath Classic probably launches Q3 this year. Overwatch 2 launches Q4. Dragonflight probably...
You know what they should do for the PvP part of the game? You know how like in Mortal Kombat or whatever you have like a character... No, it's actually that's not true. Basically what I think they should do is every champion has its own PvE thing. 5 to 10 missions per champion. Obviously that's a lot, but for whatever. And the levels are built with that champion in mind, how the champion moves, what the champion does. So for example, if you play what's her name, the time chick, Chaser, is that what her name is? I don't remember. The one who like reverts time. So you want to have a like the missions that require you to use her abilities properly, to have a certain amount of like how you spend your ammo and shit like that. If you're playing Widow, you have to do like undetected snipe work where you're staying up and like you're using your hook to get around places, and then you have a closed space where you use your other weapon. Kind of like it makes you learn the characters better by doing the missions with them, right? Then if you are a tank, so all the tanks should have something similar because they all pretty much do the same thing. All the like assassin type should have something similar and whatever, or just a completely separate PvE zones for each and every champion in Overwatch, and the missions are done based on how the player, the character acts, like Genji with his wall running and all that stuff.
Launches Q1 2023, likely along with the first bit of Overwatch 2 PvE. Then Diablo 4 Q2 2023. Because at the Xbox showcase, they basically said the game shown would be releasing within 12 months. So it's been barren for a long time for Blizz.
Okay, so like June 2023.
But man, there is no doubt that the next 12 months are going to be an utter torrent of content. So I guess pretty nice time for Microsoft to assume control, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting.
Well, the thing is, because the deal is not finalized, Microsoft might have to increase the price if the shares go up. Right? They're buying it based on the share value, I believe. So the price might actually go up, especially now. Like you're gonna have Dragonflight, which will increase it. You're gonna have Overwatch 2. You're gonna have Diablo 4 coming out. All of that will increase the revenue price. And honestly, Diablo Immortal is gonna keep increasing it for the next year. So yeah, Microsoft might actually might need to add money to the deal.
Finally realizing that they'd always been saying in terms of game releases, good times are just around the corner. It actually seems we're there now. Now, obviously, look, Diablo Immortal rocked their reputation. Stupid move, probably a very financially successful one, but evidently, that's just the Blizzard name doesn't mean what it means anymore, right? Because they're now willing to do a free-to-play mobile game that means all of that. That doesn't mean that everyone at the company likes that game's business model. I am, let's just say, nearly 100% confident that they do not. But look, it is what it is at this stage. I think you just have to see Blizzard as yet another publisher. I think.
I wish Monk was as cool as it is
lost their
in the cinematic.
I think that they should really get that reputation back.
Nice
I think the realistic reputation for Blizzard is one of individual teams who have a reputation based on the work that they produce. And other than that, you know,
that's actually pretty cool.
Like the games. And
that was actually pretty cool.
There's obviously been other bits of Blizzard news.
Though, let's be real, the Sork would not run away. The Sork would fuck him up way more than the Demon Hunter.
Blizzard, you know, kind of investigate themselves and found no wrongdoing in terms of executives, you know, not knowing about the bad stuff that was going on. And I think there's a lot of eyes rolling at that for very obvious reasons. So it is one of those odd situations, right? I mean, you look at...
This hasn't been posting in a while. We are still collecting to our Pass the Hat Strike or Solidarity Fund. These funds are 100% overseen by a committee within the A Better ABK group that maintains the money for use of our members. ABK Workers Alliance. June 21 articles published which highlighted the abuse, harassment, discrimination.
I forget the name of the lead of Overwatch. But if you look at the lead team for Overwatch 2 or the...
In solidarity with SB Workers United, have developed a dashboard that aims to give a clear idea of the incredible success they're having at unionizing stores across the nation. Data is retrieved from...
For World of Warcraft. They obviously don't like the bad things that went on at the company.
Starbucks Workers United.
The sorts of people who are going to love Immortal or whatever. And I think that just emphasizes that in the same way that, you know, you wouldn't be a fan of...
It's the age of the unions, guys.
Say, I don't know, maybe a Call of Duty game you really enjoyed, or the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game or something. I think that is now the way to, you know, to deal with the Blizzard products, right? They kind of don't get a win by default anymore. But if there are good games coming out and franchises that we enjoy, that will be delivering a reasonable amount of value for the money and a good experience for us as people who play video games, then that is still a good thing. It means that Blizzard have lost their position at the top of the mountain, but...
Starbucks Disneyland store votes to unionize 29 to 15. It is the 8th store in California to unionize.
On, you know, the institutional changes and ensuring...
Pretty sure unionization is against socialism, so I'm surprised it passed in California. But hey, whatever.
Bad things don't happen, which you know is why it's still a thing we cover on the news channel when it happens, and that's why we're not going to forget about that. So there you go. I guess for core game releases, stuff's finally happening. So there. It'll be less barren for the next stuff, and hopefully next week the actual World of Warcraft part of the news will be a bit less barren too. Anyway, that's it from me. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and I'll see you a whole bunch of fresh videos next week.
Alright, I mean, technically decently big news. It's like pretty much covered every new game or every upcoming game from them, and there is a lot coming up in the next year. It said Dragonflight is January, February. Diablo 4 is probably June, if not April, if not May. What is this? One stock doesn't go, but Diablo Immortal.
Ted Cruz responds to ask, just eat it.
Okay, it's just a part. Okay, yeah, so it's gonna be a big year for Blizzard. Every other year this happens with Blizzard, like, I mean, how it is. When they have certain games to just like come on repeat. I mean, 2019 was supposed to be a big year for Blizzard too, right? With their announcement. Actually, probably not so much. The BlizzCon there wasn't that good, if Diablo Immortal was their thing. But it is what it is. But yeah, it's like, it's not too uncommon to hear that Blizzard's gonna have a big year. It's like, it's, you know, it's waves. It is what it is. But anyways, let's go on to the next one.